Since we are live, we'll give everybody a few seconds to jump on with us, and then we will get rolling into tonight's chat. All right. We'll go ahead and get rolling tonight. As always, thanks for coming back, everybody. Still surprised that you guys jump on here every week with me. Having a great time. You guys, it doesn't really mean anything. So, as always, comments, questions, concerns, throw them up there. We'll sure try to address them sometimes, even if I don't know. Some of our other viewers do. So don't be afraid to throw those up there. Vic's on with us on Facebook. Adam Spitfire is on with us on YouTube. So we've got comments working. My buddy Mike's on. Justin Rico are here, some good friends. William from Pennsylvania just jumped as well. So great crowd jumping on with us. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Ironhead Garage is on with us. He likes the Sinclair sign. Always got to like Sinclair. You always got to like the dinosaur stuff. That's always great stuff. So Greenwich, Ohio is on with us. Nashville, Tennessee's on with us. Dan from Defiance is on with us. Stan's on with us on Facebook. Thanks for being here, everybody. These are a lot of fun, but without you guys, it'd get pretty boring. Because always appreciate the participant with me. As always, I try to keep up with all the comments as best I can. Billy from Texas is on. Sometimes they do get to scrolling a little bit quick, and I may miss some, and sometimes we do have some feed issues, and I just don't see them. So I apologize if I missed you. It was not intentional, but sometimes that does happen. Let's see. Adam's on. Adam's ready to go. He wants to know what's going on tonight, so he's ready to roll. Northeast Missouri checking in. Thanks for being here, Jason. Lots of things going on tonight, actually. We've got a whole big list of things to go over. Leonard from Texas is on with us being here, Leonard. Anyway, let's go ahead and get rolling. We've got a lot of people jumping on. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and throw a share up there. If you've got some friends that you think might enjoy jumping on with us and hanging out and talking about old cars. So let's see. Right rear rocker trim for I've got one Monte Carlo in that era. If you want to give me a call after we get done, I'll get you on my list and see if that is still on that car, on that Monte Carlo. Canada's on with us. Thanks, 79 Tasman, for being on in Canada. You're on with us regularly as well. A lot of familiar names popping back up. Glad you're here and glad you're back. Scott's back on with us on Facebook. Great group being on tonight. Lots of familiar names. And there again, I'm still shocked that you guys continue to jump on, but we're having fun doing it. No 65 to 67 Novas at all, Kevin, so nothing on that. But anyway, so next week is something kind of different, something kind of special. I'm going to throw it out there as a teaser and see who can figure out what next week might be besides the Super Bowl. So obviously, that's something else about next Sunday that is kind of different. So I'm going to let everybody think about that for a minute. Dan remembers Sinclair stations in Ohio. Let's see. Looking for a radio. Depends on what that's for. Russ is Sloan Brothers Automotive Machine jumping in. Chris is jumping in with us. 70 Mercedes radio. Nothing there on a Mercedes. James from Indy. James from New Waverly, Texas. George from Washington State. Lots of familiar names. Glad you guys are all back with us. Chris just got on YouTube, another one of our regulars. Thanks for being here, everybody. And a good friend, good buddy Bill Twitchell's on with us. Great. Got a great group again tonight. Like I said, I'm amazed at the people that jump on with us and the fun we're having, but it's you guys coming back is what makes it happen. So think about what next week might mean to what I've got going on there. Scott's on with us. Thanks for being here, Scott. Chris is on with us. Anyway, what do we got to talk about tonight? Some interesting news, industry news this week that I thought we would bring up. GM's announcement to go to all electric by 2035, and 30 vehicles being all electric by 2025. 2025 is not that far off in the future to be, that much of their lineup being strictly electric. And obviously along with that, I'm seeing a lot of other comment. If everything does go electric, how are they going to keep up with the power it's going to take to run those? And that's another interesting thought. With all the push to go to electric, what's the power grid going to have to do to be able to maintain that many vehicles that are strictly electric? So that's going to be interesting as well. Even a couple years ago, I've got a buddy that works for GM, and when I was talking to, when I was at Chris's place a few years back, he told me then, 2018, that the current lineup of internal combustion engines that GM was developing in 2018 was the last completely internal combustion engines they had planned. So that's going to be interesting. They made that official announcement to go, do that many electric vehicles. My good buddy Tim and Mr. Good Flyers jumped on with us. Thanks for being here, Tim. Who else is getting on? We got a bunch of comments popping up on Facebook. No Cosworth Vegas stuff at all. Pre-60 Chevy or GMC trucks, I've got a ton of that stuff, Matt. Just depends on exactly what you're looking for. Jerry from New Mexico's on with us. Adam made the comment that on YouTube, say goodbye to anything cool and sporty. And that's going to be interesting to see how GM handles a lot of that stuff. Obviously, when electric motors put out a ton of torque and a ton of instant torque. So, I definitely can see that being incorporated into those. It's going to be a different world from what we know today. Is it going to happen? Is it all going to go through like they say it's going to? That time will tell on that. Interesting that they came out and made that announcement. That is the plan, and that's where they're headed. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of positive comments about going all electric popping up. Hey Randy, thanks for jumping on. Exactly, and we got a comment from Chris. Exactly, there isn't enough infrastructure to support electric vehicles, and that's what I'm starting to see a lot of comments and a lot of articles on. After GM made that announcement, that where is this all going to come from, and then realistically, where is that power being generated? A lot of it's being generated in coal-fired power plants, things like that. Even the wind generators, those wind generators have huge brakes on them to control them. Those brakes are hydrated with oil. So it's, there's still an awful lot, that announcement, I think, brought up more questions than answers as to what's going to be happening over the next 5 to 10 years if they can execute this plan like they say they're going to. And obviously there's a million variables, between now and then. So who knows what's going to happen, but that's definitely something to think about. An R800 of any of that style. Not sure what you're wanting on R800 there, Matt. UPS sold UPS Freight, is what James said. I have not heard that. I've not been shipping with UPS for about 5 years due to some issues with them, but that is interesting if UPS sold off their freight division as to what may happen with some shipping situations. There are lots of comments pouring in on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, and like Tim says, Mr. Good, now, a lot of people look back at the guys strictly running carbureted big blocks and say, that you can't believe they're doing that with the technology today. And that's a good point. It could be just another huge shift in technology. And 50 years from now, our hobby is going to be completely different, as we always see these shifts coming through. Yeah, and that's another thing that Adam brought up, is they might have to make fake sounds. And actually, believe it or not, Adam, I did read some of that stuff. They have to make a sound. There is a government mandate that an electric vehicle has to emit some sort of a noise, so because it doesn't have warned pedestrians. So there is actually a law on the books, and I don't know the details of it, but I have read about it, that there is a law on the books that they do have to emit some sort of a noise so people can hear them coming. And another good point is, how long is the charge going to last? You'll be coming up in gas. You have to stop and recharge, which takes time. Power grid's going to go down. And like Tim said, in 2045, the guys are going to be laughing at the people who did LS swaps. Could be a very good point. This is a cycling hobby. Always has been, always will. It will always cycle. Imagine the blackouts in California, 79 Taz, man. That's very, very true. Okay. Matt says R800 is a big GMC truck. Okay. I don't have anything when you get into the really big stuff. I'm not set up to handle it, and I don't know much about the really big stuff on that, Matt. So most of the stuff I've got is 2 ton on down to pick up stuff. So probably not going to have anything specifically on that unless it will fit on the, the 1.5 or 2 ton on down size wise. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now that GM officially made that announcement that that's where their plans are. So something to keep and see how things continue to cycle. But it is coming. To what extent, on what time frame, we don't know, but it is coming. And GM has laid down some information and drawn a line in the sand as to where they stand. So. Ford's doing a lot of that with the Mach-E Mustang. And then, of course, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the memes about Dodge where, Ford wants to go electric, GM wants to go electric, and Dodge wants to slap a Hellcat in anything. So, which I'm definitely, a fan of that as well. So it's those have been some pretty hilarious memes, too. If you haven't seen any of those, some of those are worth checking out because they're pretty funny. Adam on YouTube says the charge on a Jaguar 1 Pace was 45 minutes to get it recharged. So, your typical gas stop today where you jump out, fill up, hit the bathroom, grab something to drink. Cars are more reliable than cordless weed eaters. So we got some comments popping up from Facebook. Let's catch those. Matt from Wichita is on with us. The noise can be set at low limits, like under 35 miles an hour. Okay. Like I said, Vic, I didn't know a lot about that. So there's a little bit of clarity on what the law reads for electric vehicles having to emit some sort of a noise. Lance loves the show. Thanks for being on, Lance. William was just here, picked some stuff up. Actually been here a couple times. William from Texas, and he said he got home and his wife told him he should have brought the other cab back with him. So, hey, he actually had permission, didn't even realize it. But that's all right. Maybe next time, William, you guys still come get that Buick, buddy. So glad you made it up. It's good to see you again this week, and thanks for being on with us. It's always great when you guys get to stop by project, and so always exciting to see you guys here. Anyway, on to the next topic. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and this is, something that still amazes me, is a lot of the ads you see, and obviously being in the business, I run a lot of ads. I do a ton of digital media. The ads you see that absolutely do not have a phone number to contact anybody. So I'll keep an eye on comments. If we've got anything else on electric cars to throw up there, but we're going to move on to the next topic of phone numbers in ads. It really shocks me the amount of people who actually do not put a phone number in an ad, especially on Facebook, Craigslist, everything's, well, they can message me. One thing about Facebook, and something to keep in mind, if you're ever putting stuff on Facebook, so once they go electric, gas prices will skyrocket, and that's a possibility. You don't know what gas prices are going to do for those of us still running internal combustion. Polaris station wagons, Michael, nothing on that at all. But one thing about if you're going to put an ad out there and you don't want to put your phone number in it, you figure, well, somebody's going to message me. You have any idea how much stuff I see on Facebook with no phone numbers on it that I know people that are looking for something like that, but they're not on Facebook? I don't know how many times I've grabbed my phone to take a picture of an ad to send it to somebody that I know is looking for something similar to that. But then there's no phone number. So it's like, well, there's no point in sending it because they're not going to be able to find it anyway. So obviously, as you guys all know, I preach the phone number. I preach the phone call. Every single phone call I get is different. Every single one. So that's why it's so important for me to have that phone call, to have that conversation with you guys. But also on the flip side of that, there's a lot of people out there that aren't on Facebook. There's a lot of people out there that aren't on computers, period. But they may be looking for something. They've called me. They've asked about it. And I can call them and give them a phone number. I can text them a phone number on Facebook. Having that phone number in there, it's just ain't going to happen. There's no point in chasing it because then I'd have to message them and get information, then forward it on. And even though it may not be exactly what they want, things like that. So let's see what we got popping up over here. Ironhead Garage says this 55 gasser plans on using a lot of fuel. Or like 79 Tasman. So, or the ads don't want text only. Text only to me is an immediate red flag. If you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to buy your stuff, because I don't want to, I want to know who I'm dealing with. I want to get details, information, text only, immediate red flag. Guess the Middle East is going back to camels is what Adam says. James did, or let's see, 69 to 72 Novas. Heath, I've got one 4-door is the only thing I've got in 69 to 72 Novas. James, did GM make any small COE trucks? The small COE that I know of basically was like 1.5 tons. They never made it really like an actual COE pickup factory. Obviously, you know, a lot of guys are making them now. Obviously, we've turned my daughter's 40 Ford into a pickup, but I don't remember ever seeing any actual COE pickups. You know, they were like 1.5 tons. So depends on what you mean by big, you know, big being Class 8 semi or big being, you know, 1.5 tons. They made a lot of 1.5 tons COEs is the most common ones you see. Let's see. Easiest way to send a list of what I'm looking for. Matt, the best thing to do is give me a call so we can, I know, and I've got a notepad that I write all my notes on. So when I go out and check parts for guys, I've got that notepad with me and I go through everybody's list when I'm doing it. So giving me a call, I can get all that stuff written down. That way, if I've got questions about what you're asking for, and another thing is, a lot of times people call a part a different thing than what I call it. We can usually sort that out in about 20 seconds on a phone call. That's like 2 trying to sort it out. So that's another reason the phone call is so important. And I can get you on my list. Glenn from Minnesota's on. Glad you're back, Glenn. You did miss us last week, and I did notice that you weren't here. I thought that was kind of odd after we got done that I did not see you pop up, Glenn. Glad you made it back. Dan, get more wrong number phone calls than the right ones. Yeah, that's true too. 79 Tasman, Dodge A100s. I've got one van is all I've got. No pickups. I do have one A100 van. But there again, that's back to my issue with the phone call. And like I said, I've got about 1,400 vehicles on 20 acres. I've got 6 buildings that's 20,000 square foot under roof of cars and parts. My dad's got 3 more buildings about 20 miles from here full of cars and parts. So, you know, there again, just having that quick conversation for me, that's why the phone call is so critical. But there again, if you've got something for sale, don't hesitate to put it up there. I mean, it's part of the deal if you want to sell it. So just what I run into, what I see, just a little tidbit of information to throw out there for you guys. Let's hear. Yeah, like Scott says, people don't have any idea on how to call anymore. And that's another good point, Scott. And Scott's kind of like me. He does a lot of the same stuff I do. And like I said, the phone call is, you know, Scott agrees with me. The phone call is by far the simplest, easiest way to do it. But you're right. He's like, you know, like a lot of people don't even know how to pick up a phone and call you anymore. It's like almost weird or abnormal to pick up the phone and call somebody. But when you're in this business, you know, like Scott and I are, and you're so many different things and so many different cars and so many different trucks, and every single person has a different concept for their build. That's why that phone call is so important. Andrew's in late model salvage and talking on the phone is becoming one of the top fears in the U.S. Yeah. Communication, the parts business, super important to make sure everybody's on the same page. Exactly. Andrew, in the same business, being late model salvage. With us, glad you're here with us, Classic Ride Society. I know you've got some cool stuff going on too, so glad you made it back to hang out with us tonight. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up on phone numbers. You know, like a lot of stuff I see that I may have somewhere to go with, or at least send somebody to you, but with no phone number, it can't get anywhere. Let's see, Adam, late 90s and 2000s Firebirds. Yeah, yep. I assume basically we're talking 4th gen, 93 to 02 on that. I've got a bunch of them and looking for another one. I've actually got a couple of 94 25th cars, 94 25th anniversary Trans Ams. I got a 97 Z28 30th anniversary. I'm currently looking for an 01 02 Ram Air Trans Am. So yeah, it's definitely, Adam, lots of 90s and early 2000s 4th gen Firebirds, several parts cars, plus several good ones as well. 79 Tasman, exact same thing. See stuff all the time on Marketplace that he's interested in. No phone number, ain't worth. They don't feel like chasing them down. Not worth the effort. Or like Dan said, you see a car sitting on the side of the road with a for sale sign in it and no phone number or any way to contact him anyway. So that's another good point. Got some comments on Facebook. Boattail Rivieras cruise. Yes, I do have some Boattail Rivieras in stock. 171, 172, and I think 373s. Jim still got a landline phone. That's something that's definitely becoming a thing of the past as well. it's my soapbox for telephones and phone numbers and putting them out there. And obviously, you know, some of the other guys in the business immediately commented along with me that conversation is so critical to have. So that's what why that phone number. So next topic I've got for tonight. Let's see. A little more follow up on what we talked about last week on the Low Volume Motor Vehicle Act. Some more information is popping up on that. Obviously, now that it is being put in, we've got some connection problems on YouTube, it's telling me. So if you guys are having some issues on YouTube, hopefully that clears up. I am hardwired into my modem. None of this is running on Wi-Fi. I am hardwired in, so hopefully that clears itself up. And Ironhead Garage, people almost don't even know how to talk to each other on the phone anymore. And that's exactly what Scott said as far as etiquette, talking on the phone and having that conversation. 79 Tasman, he's a 65 Rivi guy. So yeah, Rivieras are great cars. My dad actually has a 73 GS that he bought in 77. Completely original car. So I've always been a fan of that Boattail Riv. I grew up with that car. I was born in 74, and I think he bought it in 77. Sold new at the Buick, worked, and then he bought it in 77 and still has it. Original paint, original interior. Nothing's ever been touched on it. Neat old car. And it's a Burgundy GS. So, oh, wow. This is something interesting. Classic Ride Society. There are still actually some payphones in the U.S. I haven't seen a payphone in a long time, but that's something else different that, is literally quickly becoming a thing of the past. And because of that, I've started trying to buy payphone signs. I've actually got a phone booth. I actually do have a phone booth stored out at the yard in one of my buildings out there. And payphone signs, I've been trying to grab some of those. I've got some cool payphone signs gathered up as well. This is amazing. The amount of people who say the comments that we're getting that people just can't even talk on the phone anymore. And there's some truth to that. A lot of the people that do call me, I mean, it's like pulling teeth to get information out of some of them. We usually finally get there, but it takes me a lot of questions to get to where we're going sometimes. Comments popping up on Facebook. So if it is rolling on Facebook, we may be hung up a little bit to go several minutes here with 2 or 3 minutes without comments on Facebook. We may have a hang up there too. Dan said, Dan's got weather issues. That may be on his end on YouTube. 70s ribs are cool. That's right, Tasman. Glad you're here with us. Phone booths with doors are cool. That's what I've got. It's an old glass phone booth with the slide open, kind of fold open door. It's cool. We got to get that on something one of these nights. But anyway, on to the Low Volume Motor Vehicle Act, like we talked about last week. SEMA's been pushing this deal for about 5 years. They finally have gotten it pushed through to where hopefully it's going to be enacted, and these guys can start making low volume specialty cars instead of just kit cars. You'll be able to buy driving new vehicle from them. No, Joe, I don't get into the phone booth and turn into Superman. But it's sitting in the corner. It is cool, and I like seeing it sitting there, so that's why I've got it. See. Glenn remembers the old Boattail Buicks, and he put more than one oil pump in them, he said. So that's what's great about this thing. The stuff that comes up, somebody will ask a question, and it'll bring back memories for half the other viewers. So that's what's so much fun about this deal. Randy says, still have payphones in Southeast California and Southern Arizona, so there are still some out there. But anyway, let's do a little more follow-up on this Low Volume Motor Vehicles Act. A lot of what is happening now is, even though it's being put into place where these guys are going to start being able to produce up to 325 vehicles, up to 325 units of one model, up to 5,000 vehicles total in a year per company. Now that this is getting into place, a lot of these guys have had plans in place that started 5 years ago, and they had suppliers lined up, they had space lined up, they had buildings lined up. Well, after 5 years, a lot of that space, money, and all that other stuff has been allocated to different projects. A lot of these suppliers may not be on board with them like they were at that time. So those are some of the problems that these guys are starting to run into. And in fact, some of these companies have basically dropped out. There was a company, Accord Revival Company, that basically just said, "Nah, we're not going to do it at this point." Russ, getting tons of calls about wagons. Absolutely, Russ. Wagons are one of the hottest things out there. Did a video this week on a few wagons. I love wagons. I think everybody should love wagons. Wagons are awesome. So actually going to be bringing you a wagon video with a few wagons in it this week on the Nobody Show. So, but yes, wagons are popular, and I love them too. So always excited about wagons. And yes, I'm definitely getting more calls for that stuff. But at this point, have to submit their plans to the government and be approved before they can even start. So, and now that all of a sudden it went through, there's only a few of these companies that are actually in position to do that and be ready to move. So, a lot of these guys are almost starting from scratch to get to this point. Adam, briefly explain the Motor Vehicle Act. Okay, Adam, what this is real quick is about in 2015, SEMA started pushing. In the United States, you cannot buy a turnkey kit car, so to speak. You could buy a complete kit car with no motor, but you could not buy a running driving car from one of these manufacturers because it would have to be crash tested. And obviously you can't crash test 10 cars to sell 50. It doesn't work. So they enacted a law that if you can make up to 325 of one model and up to 5,000 total units per year as a low volume motor vehicle and sell them as a running driving vehicle in the United States. So that's what this is. But it's been going on since 2015. And now that it finally got enacted, that's what we're talking about now is the issues that these guys have been waiting for almost 6 years for this to happen. And now there's a whole new set of issues to deal with. Galvin, front clip for an 86 Regal. I should have that depending all on which pieces you need. If you want to give me a shout after we get done, we can sure go over your list on that, on what you need for that Regal. But, a lot of these suppliers were lined up. Some of the small suppliers have gone out of business that were going to supply a lot of these parts. And there's just all kinds of issues that these guys are running into. They may have had financial backers lined up that aren't interested anymore. But there's a lot of stuff out there happening. DeLorean is one of the biggest ones out there that everybody's excited about. Obviously, Factory 5 does multiple cars. Big with the Cobra kit cars are doing a lot of hot rod kit cars. Factory 5 being able to order. Vic says no Pinto wagons. So I don't know. Actually, Vic, I had a call for a Pinto wagon this week. Believe it or not, I had a call for a Pinto wagon, and they wanted a good, solid project Pinto wagon. I don't have any Pinto wagons, but so yeah, Vic, I had a call this week for specifically a Pinto wagon. G-body wagons, Russ. I do have a few G-body wagons. Rico likes Pinto wagons. That's good. The other thing with this Low Volume Motor Vehicles Act is the powertrains have to be approved by the EPA and by CARB, California Air Resources Board. At this point, there's only one engine approved, and it was an LS-based GM power plant. However, and we talked about that a little bit last week, but when I started reading this new article I found this week, I read this article I've got that I printed off articles on the internet that I read where I got my notes for this, but that engine is only approved until 2022. So, a lot of these guys, you just get word now. So you figure, even if you're close to being ready to go, you may be 6 months out for a car's rolling off the line. You've got a year with the powertrain that's approved before something else is going to have to change. And is it going to have to be re-engineered? What are the new specifications going to be? Where are the new power plants going to be? So that's another thing. There's only one approved engine, and it's only approved for another 2 years. So they're not even quite 2 years now since we're into February, basically. So that's something else a lot of these guys are up against as far as getting all these pieces of this puzzle put together. Ironhead Garage on YouTube. Boom goes the Pinto. There was a little truth to that statement back in the day. Adam says put a huge V8 with a front blower in it for the 60 to 66 K series trucks, Joe. I do not have any four-wheel drives in 60 to 66 GM trucks right now. Now, that all being said, there are a few manufacturers who have been producing turnkey vehicles for sale in other countries. Some of those guys, obviously, with the exception of the power plant, making sure that power plant is approved, are basically ready to go. So, Allard is a company that, it was a car made back in the day that was a race car. They do make new Allards, and they sell those cars in England, Canada, New Zealand, and China right now, turnkey. So those guys have to just basically submit their plans to the government, make sure everything's approved, and then they just start selling them because they're already selling turnkey replicas in other countries. And like Andrew says, purposely making it tough on these low volume vehicle builders. And there again, it is the government. There could be some truth to that. They, maybe they did it through before the, so the powertrain would basically be almost obsolete and have to go through a whole nother round of approvals before it could be continued to be used. So, there are a few companies that are ready to go, like the Allard, but it is limited. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out and how it all comes together over the next several months, and see if we actually do get to the point where people can go and order a brand new replica car of their choice that they go have fun with. Glenn, 65 four-door builder. Not sure which one I don't know if you want a Chevy on that, Glenn. I know we've talked about some Impalas with you before, but not sure what we want on that. Any boat ARCA for 3 parts? Nothing like that at all. The only thing I've got for NASCAR is a Harvick car. So, and it never had a motor in it. It was a show car. So it's completely put together and plumbed and set up, rolling car. They just never put a motor in it and plumbed fuel and cooling systems into it. But it's basically a complete Harvick car. Just was never on the track. That's all I've got for Chevy NASCAR stuff. Yeah, like James says, look at Tucker, and that's there again. Maybe we're looking at a similar type thing to the Tucker. But Tucker had big plans for mass manufacturer. Tucker had plans to be the biggest car manufacturer in the country. And that's, and his problem was he was too innovative. The majority of his ideas were too good. And if you guys have been on here with me for a while, I'm a Tucker fan. If you've missed any of my Tucker videos, by all means, go back and check them out. Because I do love the Tucker car, and I do have some great memories, including my Newell stock radio magazines, all the way up to my original Silk Tucker dealership showroom banner. So if you guys have not caught those videos, be sure to catch those on YouTube and check out some of my Tucker memorabilia. What else we got going on? Okay, yeah, that was a Chevy, Glenn. 65 four-door builder. I don't have anything good right now. I've got a buddy that might. I can check with him and see on that. Montreal's on with us. Thanks for being here, David, from Montreal, Canada. Plymouth Sports Fury, blue with a white roof, opening headlights. Not sure what year that would be, David. I don't have any Sport Furies with hideaway headlights right now, so I'm not sure on what year that one would be. But, I can definitely always keep my eyes peeled, too. I'll probably see one on Facebook tomorrow with no phone number, but okay, we're getting caught up here. I think 70s. Yeah, and I don't know my big 70s Mopar that well. I don't have a ton of that stuff. In fact, I talk about that on one of the videos lists coming up this week. We shot a video today that had a 69 or 70 Newport in it, and I just don't know that era of Mopar that well. I'm learning them. They're cool cars, just have never had that many of them to really get a good grip on them. Sean, first time jumping into one of the live chats. Thanks for being here, Sean. Power windows for a 55 Super Tourer hardtop. I did get your message today. I've got 155 Super, but I bet it's manual. I didn't get over to that car today. I'm going to try to look at that tomorrow. I doubt that it's power windows, but I'm going to double check that. I do have several 55 Cadillacs, and I don't know if some of that Cadillac stuff may or may not interchange, but glad you made it in tonight, Sean. Thanks for being by. And if you can, stop in and hang out with us, on a more regular basis. We have a lot of fun on these, and we got a great group on here. So here, glad you made it in. Chris says that's probably a 70-71 Sport Fury, and I don't have anything like that. But like I said, you never know what's going to pop up. Those 70s era big Mopars have always been overshadowed by the muscle cars, but they're still neat cars, great looking cars, and hard to find. And we're starting to see what the big 70s GM stuff is doing. I think Chrysler's going to be right behind it. 55 Olds title. I don't have any 55 Olds as yet, Glenn. I've got one coming in. I don't know when I'm going to get that car picked up, but that's the only 55 Olds that I've got coming in. And I would have to get that car titled and then sell you the cars, all I can legally do. on that, since I can't legally sell titles or just as a piece of paper, other than for novelty items. We did Toy Tuesday and looked at some of the super, super old titles from 100 years ago. And we talked about those as a novelty type piece, but those are really cool for cars that, some of those cars, some of them manufactured anymore on those. So what else we got? Adam likes anything up to 73. And there's some truth to that, Adam, but that 70 stuff, the mid to late 70 stuff is coming on strong. There's a lot of it that I really like. I grew up with a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff from the 70s that I want. I've got a 78 Turbo Regal that I've had since high school. I really want a 79 Coupe de Ville. There's a lot of cool stuff from the late 70s, too, that are getting to be a big deal. 54 Ford sedan delivery, nothing there at all, Vince. I don't even know if I've got any 54 cars, period. I've got some 2s and 3s. I don't even remember if I've got a 54 car here at all. Thanks, Glenn. Glenn says the show rocks out. And I do appreciate that, guys. I don't catch all the comments, especially during the week. There's just too much going on. I'm admin. I was actually going through my accounts today. I'm admin on 7 pages on Facebook with the stuff that I'm involved with. Page, there'll be show page, F&E Collector Auto Auction, plus the Car Club page, and some people I help out with their pages, the SRCA drag strip, things like that. So I'm literally admin on 7 pages on Facebook. So there's so many comments that pop up, it's impossible for me to keep up with all of them. But I'm glad you guys. I'm still glad you guys are hanging out with us and having a good time. And I do appreciate the kind words. And when I do catch them, it means a lot to me. It really does. James has got to jump off. That's all right. Thanks for jumping in. Glad you made it for at least part of tonight. And like I said, we are dragging on. These are starting to drag on a little longer, so I understand some of you guys can't stick around for the whole time. And we've got so much of this stuff going on and so many guys jumping on. They are starting to drag out a little longer. I hope that's not a problem with anybody. But I'll try to keep moving along and keep things moving. We don't want to ignore any of you guys. OTR report. I don't know if we've got Jason on with us tonight. If Jason's on with us, he wants to throw up the OTR report. Our good buddy Jason's an over-the-road trucker, and he always keeps his eyes peeled while he's out running during the week. If he sees something cool, he reports it back to us, just in case he's seen something in your area that you might want to go check on. So if Jason's on, I'll keep my eyes peeled for the OTR report. If not, we'll catch him next week. Events, I'm actually starting to see some good news potentially for events this year. Like we've talked about a little bit on here as of now, Rini with the Wichita Sunflower Swap Meet for Charity has posted that as of now, they have not been told they cannot have the swap meet at Century 2 in Wichita, Kansas this year. That's in middle of March. We're keeping our fingers crossed that continues along that path, and everything is good to go there. I did see a statement from KKOA, the Custom Kemps of America, who have a massive killer show in Salina, Kansas every year in July. Company show. And they have made a statement that as of this point, they do plan on having that event this year as well. So at least there are positive signs of bright light and things that might be happening in the this year. Let's see, Scott. If he's got something somebody's looking for, yeah, that's fine. If it's something I don't have, Scott, I don't have a problem with that, especially on some of that big truck stuff that they were looking for. Let's see, some other comments popping up. Michigan's on with a 65 F100. Glad you made it back with us. He's in quarantine, so hopefully 65 F100 comes out of that okay. Adam wants more F-body videos, okay? I've got a ton of F-bodies, Adam. I bet I've got, if you figure the F-bodies in the yard and all the F-bodies I've got stashed in buildings, I've got probably at least 50 Firebirds and Camaros. So we can do lots of F-body videos. Classic Ride Society, they just had a swap meet in Texas that went off, and there's another one in Conroe, Texas in a couple of weeks. If you're in Texas, might want to check those out. Good signs to come. Things are starting to happen. They did have a swap meet in Texas, so good news. Let's see. Andrew loves the Lead Sled Spectacular, and it is great. If you are, if it's something that if you're anywhere in the area, definitely worth checking out. Thoughts on the new EV announcements from the government and big manufacturer? Do I think it could put an end to our hobby, Nate? I don't think there's ever going to be an end to our hobby. And we always hear that. We always hear, is the next generation going to like this? it doesn't matter. I don't think this hobby is ever going to end. It's going to shift, and we're shifting right now. We're in the middle of a massive shift. And I see it because I take these phone calls every single day from what people are looking for. But, you know, just like we talk about the 70s stuff and even the 80s stuff, you got to remember a car made in 1990 is now 100 years old. And Kansas 35 is an antique. So I don't think our hobby is going to end, but it's going to shift and it's going to change just like everything else does. You look at the Model T market today, and you can't hardly give them away. You can buy the nicest restored Model T and anything you want for less than 10 grand, drive it home and enjoy it. Because the market is going to shift, always has, always will. And we're not going to change we're not going to change the fact that it's going to shift, but I don't think it's going to go away because of that. Let's see. Terry says the Oklahoma City swap meet was canceled. That I have not heard about. So the Oklahoma City swap meet, whatever that they had going down there, is not going to happen apparently. Glenn says drag it out longer. Well, I'm not trying to drag it out. We're just having a lot of fun. The Old Car Magazine review is coming up. I do have one ready for tonight. Just trying to get through all the rest of this information. I guess I found about tonight because we haven't even gotten to tonight's magazine or trivia or anything else. So my buddy Brent loves KKOA. Got a big old thumbs up from my buddy BJ on KKOA. Let's see. Decatur, Texas swap meet is a go at the end of February. So if you're in Texas, there is some stuff coming up. You definitely want to check that out. See if there's any of those Texas swap meets you want to catch. Classic Ride Society is going to try to make the Sunflower swap meet. If so, he wants to come and check out the big 70s Pontiacs. We can probably work something out there. I will be at the Sunflower swap meet. That's the only swap meet I set up at. And that's primarily because I've set up at that swap meet for so many years that I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't. You know, my dad had spaces there when I was a kid. We started setting up there probably in about 88, I think. So I'd have been like 14 when we started setting up. And I'm 46 now, and I've never not set up at that swap meet since then. So that's the primary reason I do it. And, you know, for me, it's not a big profit center. It's one of those deals you go to see friends and see the people that a lot of times that's the only time you see them is at that swap meet. And I've been seeing them there for 32 years. So sometimes that's the only way I see them. Now it Haven has a new meeting. Now that I'm meeting all you guys online, I meet some of you guys every year there at the swap meet as well. And some of the other swap meets I go to when you guys come up to say hi to me, it's great. And that's making it even more fun. So I will be there. So if you want to come up and look around, I'm about 100 miles from Wichita. It would have to be like on Sunday after the swap meet, unless you came up, you know, during the week before. So if anybody does want to do that, you'll just have to get a hold of me and schedule something so we can make all that work. Let's see, where are we at on comments? Jess says Jess says you don't have to do trivia. Just give her the can away tonight. What do you think of that, Jess? You're wrong. We're giving away something else tonight. I've got some cans set up for later, but I got something cool tonight that's different. Adam says the 1st of February is his birthday too. So just don't be like Jess. You only get this one time. Jess beats the whole month of October for her birthday. She is her birthday month. She beats on it every week because it's her birthday month. Let's see what else we got here. My good buddy Mike Shook with Auto Artistry built some killer stuff, and he's starting to see 90 stuff roll up at his door. People want built. Scott says great news on KKOA. That's what I'm hoping. I was excited when I saw that post, and keeping my fingers crossed that all goes through. Let's see. Jess just says just ship it to him. No, we're gonna do trivia, Jess. You got to win it. Wagon in stock right now as well, and I've got actually the video that I did coming 61 to 64 GM wagons that I've got in stock right now. So that's going to be coming out this week as well. So if you like wagons, you want to catch that video. Okay, what else is going on? And like we talked about on the Tucker stuff, if you want to catch some of these other videos, if you're on Facebook, the easiest way to do it is definitely go to YouTube so you can catch all the videos at one time. Hit my channel under Nobody's Show, and you can check out all the stuff that's going on the videos over there. That's the easiest way to catch all of the videos. Instagram, I'm still fumbling my way through Instagram. I'm on there. I'm throwing a few pictures up on it. I don't know anything about it. I'm learning it as I go. So if you're on Instagram, please check me out on that as well. And I just throw up a few random pics on there. I'll be angle the way the light is or something. I shot a few when we had a bunch of snow earlier this week. Shot some cool stuff in the snow. Throwing some of that stuff up on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, hit me up on there and check that out. And I'm going to try to figure out how it works. I don't know nothing about it, but I'm trying to learn it. So, all right, Adam's got to bail off with us. If I remember correctly, Adam is actually in England. He's on with us over in the UK, and it is 1:45 in the morning in the UK. So I'm glad he hung in there with us. Thanks for being here, Adam. Great to have you guys on from other countries, especially when you stay up half the night just to hang out with us. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for being here, and get some rest. So anyway, tonight's magazine, Cars. Literally, it's just called Cars. That's what it's called. Cars from September of 1953 is tonight's car magazine of choice. Check out a couple of cool things in. Obviously, great, cool prototype-looking car on the front of this. We'll catch some of this. Then we will get into trivia and into the new videos and wrap up here soon. Keep an eye on comments. Nothing else popping up right now. So let's get into the September 1953 issue of Cars magazine. Obviously, looking at the graphic on the front, that is one of the primary articles. The 1954 Detroit sports car shows several different models of cars, including the design on the front, inside the cover. And then what it gets into is some vehicles that probably are going to look familiar to you, and so maybe some not so much. You know, the Studebaker, obviously, at the top, looks very much like a production car. You know, the Buick was a prototype. The Cadillac Le Mans was a prototype. The Buick Wildcat was a prototype. And then we see the 53 Corvette, and obviously we know that car did go into production. So kind of different takes of the car magazines, because this is, you know, literally information in 1953. These were cars that were, you know, some in production, some on the drawing board, some strictly experimental prototypes, but really cool stuff. And then the next page shows some of the features that we saw on some of these cars, one of which definitely made it into production. If we can check it out here, it's kind of tough to see. And I know, you know, bear with me on some of this stuff. The sliding pocket doors. And although they were not a lot of them made, the Kaiser Darren used that. And if we see right here, we can see the back of the 51 Buick LeSabre, you know, with a rocket ship type design. That's what these guys were going for back in the day. You know, in the 50s, it was the jet age, and that's what they were trying to design the cars after. That's where things were going. That was the style people liked. Forward thinking, forward motion, and technology and progress, which is kind of ironic after talking about the push to electric vehicles tonight at that time. So that was kind of a neat article with some really cool pictures. The next thing was kind of different based on, you know, what we do here and what we talk about on here with old cars, trucks, and memorabilia. But there was an article in here about collecting license plates in 1953. We look back and we collect tags from the 50s and stuff, but literally they had an article on a guy who was collecting license plates in 1953, just like we do today. Decorate the walls with them, put them on your old vehicles. And what was really interesting is, as I looked at the pictures and the notes and stuff on here, it literally, this is 1953, but if you look, you probably can't read the text. Right here, it talks about digging through antique shops looking for them, going to auctions looking for them. It's one of those things, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We look at an article about, you know, the forward-thinking sporty designs of the 50s, and we talk about the push to electric vehicles to get a magazine about collecting license plates in 1953, and we still collect the memorabilia today, and we're still looking for it in the same manner. So the more things change, sometimes the more they do stay the same. Glenn's actually got this magazine. That's cool. We actually pulled one out that another one of our viewers had. We pulled one out a few weeks ago that Rico had too. So that was a pretty cool article to, you know, based on what we do today with our collections, to see that it's nothing new. Another interesting article, and I'll try to move through some of this fairly quickly because every time I turn the page in one of these, most like I said, it's taken a lot longer to get this ready on Saturday nights for Sunday night chat than before because everything you see in these magazines is so cool you want to stop and check it out. This was a very interesting article, and I actually read the article and then did some research on it. This is a deal where Cars Magazine wants stories about vehicles that somebody won't forget, some unique story. And they were even paying $25 for your story about a unique car that you won't forget. And this is 1953. So I'm thinking, okay, if this is a story about a car you'll never forget, the car in the picture is essentially a new Cadillac. It's a 50 or 51 60 special Cadillac. So I looked at the picture of the Cadillac and started looking at it. And if we look closely, if you look at the windshield looks a little different. That era of Cadillac had a one-piece curved windshield. Well, that one's obviously not one piece. And it said a Cadillac for Mickey Cohen. Well, I didn't know who Mickey Cohen was. The name didn't ring a bell with me, but obviously a Cadillac. So I started reading the article, and it said that Mickey Cohen was a dapper underworld gambler, is how it was put in the article. Well, that explains why he probably wanted a custom-built Cadillac. And so I read the article, and it was a fully bulletproof Cadillac, 2-inch thick windows. So I did a little more research and looked it up, and actually Mickey Cohen was basically the replacement for Bugsy Siegel after he was gunned down in Vegas after the Flamingo was opened, and he was the West Coast guy. And this Cadillac was custom built for him with bulletproof glass. They couldn't make the curved one-piece windshield in bulletproof glass, so that explained the oddity that I saw in the picture of the two-piece windshield in this car. And as I read the article, what made it even more interesting to find out that after the car was built at a cost of $12,000 in, basically 1951, they wouldn't license it. They said it was too heavily modified, couldn't tag it, couldn't license it. They wouldn't even allow it to be driven. So he finally ended up selling it to somebody in Texas, and for basically what the build was, it went to Texas, and Texas wouldn't register it either. So nobody would issue a permit for the car to be driven. So it's one of those things that, does the car still exist? Is it in a private collection somewhere? It would be very interesting to find out. I didn't go any further than that on the research. I actually needed to get back to work and get ready for tonight. But a really interesting article about a very specialized bulletproof Cadillac that was custom built for basically the mob guy on the West Coast. Couldn't even use it. So who knows whatever happened to that car? It'd be very interesting to find out. And maybe one of these days we'll find something out about it. We can do a little bit of follow-up story on it. Yeah. 79 Tasman, he knew it right away who he was. I had to do a little research on that one. But it was interesting to read that and find out all the details about it. Demas is on with us. His granddad had license plates that he saved from way back in the day, so that Demas has too. So that's what's really cool when we see this stuff. These guys, this collecting's been going on for years doing the same thing. Scott says IG definitely becoming more. Oh, Instagram. Okay, yeah. And Scott, I'm not like I said, I'm learning it as we're going. So, anyway, that's all I know about Instagram. Some more studying on it. I'm just throwing a few things on there. Like Vic says, it should have low miles. Yeah, if they can never drive it, I'm sure it does still have low miles if it's there. 79 Tasman brought up another good point that I hadn't even thought about in connection with this story. The first presidential limo was an armored car that was seized from Al Capone. I believe it was a Cadillac. That's another good point that kind of ties right in with that. Classic Ride Society, do you have any professional cars? Hearses and flower cars, nothing there. The only limo I've got a 66 Cadillac limo that is in the new yard, and it was on a video I did here within the last 2 or 3 months. That's the only professional car I've got right now. The only other cool one I had a 54 Cadillac flower car. There was a soft top flower car. That was a very unique design, but I sold that car several years ago. So that's all I've got right now. Couple more things in the September 1953 issue of the Cars magazine. The new product parade listed multiple new accessories that you could get for people, and it was kind of cool seeing some of this stuff. Some of the stuff that was new and new for the day: wide angle rear view mirror, headlight guards, lowering blocks, high dome pistons, a center armrest that would just sit on your bench seat with a storage compartment, which obviously today is so common in basically everything, but back in the day it was let's see if we can get that to cooperate and show you guys that center armrest that was a new accessory for the day. There's a Lincoln flower car south of Salina, Scott says. Have not seen or heard anything about that car. But somewhere by Salina, there's apparently a Lincoln flower car. So let's catch a magazine, and then we'll get moving on tonight. Something really cool, today, especially with the newer vehicles today, one of the things you can do is exhaust and fresh air intakes and stuff on newer vehicles. In September of 1953, the Southern California Muffler Company came up with the original Belond Equiflow exhaust system for your new 1953 Dodge with a red Ram in it. So that was kind of cool. Even had a graphic showing the full-length equal dual exhaust, and specifically designed for your Dodge with a red Ram Hemi in it. So that was kind of neat to see that. And another cool ad that I noticed, and we talked about this a little bit last week on another ad, and that's kind of what was kind of cool about this, where they spend, I don't know how much time talking in circles, literally a full page ad for a $2 Kozak, I don't know, saves you money. I tried to read a bunch of this, and when I got finally down to about into this area, starting up here, what this was, the Kozak was a dry wash cloth, and it would do everything. It would remove dirt. It polished as it cleans, and it saves time and work. So you're using a dry cloth, and it will remove the dirt and polish at the same time. Now, from what I've learned, if you're wiping dirt off with a dry cloth, that's probably not a good way to polish something. If you want to sand it down, great plan. Not necessarily such a good idea otherwise. And it specifically says no water needed, summer or winter, and it's safe, used by over 10 people, and it protects the finish. So it's a cloth that you can wipe dry and protect your finish and polish as you clean. So quite a cloth for $2 back in the day. So anyway, yeah, so Scott says it would be cool to find that bulletproof caddy. And it makes you wonder that if the car was never driven, is it in a collection somewhere? If it was essentially a car that was never able to be driven, somebody had to do something with it, unless they modified it into something else. But it would be cool if that car does still exist. Classic Ride Site accessories for the day are fetching good money today, and that's true. The original accessory stuff is so cool. I've got a bunch of it. I've got a whole box of stuff out of an old Western auto store that my dad and I went through about 30 years ago, all kinds of cool little trinket accessories. I ought to get some of that stuff out. Maybe we'll do some of that on Toy Tuesday this week. It's a good idea. So, yeah, but wait, there's more. That's, the ShamWow, the Kozak. Maybe the ShamWow is today's version of the Kozak was. That's a good point, Classic Ride Society. I hadn't thought of it from that standpoint, but that could be very true. So maybe we'll that's a good idea. Maybe we'll do Toy Tuesday on some of those old accessories from the 50s on Tuesday night. So anyway, that wraps up the highlights tonight from the September 1953 issue of Cars. And like I said, tons more cool stuff in all these magazines. Having a blast with that. Glad you guys like it. Glad we're doing it. And it's cool stuff. So perfect. Andrew came up with something. It says just Google Mob Museum. It says Mob Museum says it's in New Zealand. I've heard it's pretty cool to Vegas. But the museum says that the car is in New Zealand as of 2015. So apparently it does still exist, and it must be in New Zealand. So if we've got any of our friends from New Zealand on, because I know that because American cars are huge in New Zealand, I've actually shipped some vehicles to New Zealand. If we've got anybody on from New Zealand that can confirm that, that would be great as well. Anyway, trivia tonight. Let's get to some trivia and see if we can find us a winner. Tonight, trivia is going to be, we're not going to give away a can. It's going to be something different. I'm actually going to send two things to tonight's winner. If you caught Toy Tuesday on Thursday last week, we did tiny hubcaps. And tonight, I'm going to send out two tiny hubcaps to the winner. The first one's kind of rough. It's actually got a hole in it, but it was an Oldsmobile cap. It's still kind of cool because you can still see a lot of the logo on it. And the other cap is going to be the Essex. So tonight's winner is going to get both these caps to them. Great little ornamental pieces. Hang them on the wall. Hang them on in the shop. Cool deals. Neat little pieces. So two of the tiny little hubcaps, like we talked about on the Toy Tuesday Thursday night, is going to be for tonight's winner. And we'll do the trivia question. Then I'll catch up some of these comments as I'm watching for winners. As always, on trivia, I go with what I see first that the systems feed me. We are at the mercy of the systems, and sometimes that does get us in a bind. So we go with the first correct comment that I see on either one of my screens. As always, I am on YouTube and Facebook right now, so I've got two screens up in front of me. And the question for tonight is on the Toy Tuesday with the tiny hubcaps. I had one matching set of a tiny hubcap and a badge. Just a badge, not on a grill shell, just a badge and a tiny hubcap. Make and model on the badge and the tiny hubcap that Toy Tuesday on Thursday night last week. So watching for comments on that as well as others. Cartoons Magazine 79 Tasman. I do have some of those back from when I was a kid in the 80s. Don't know where they're at right now, but those have come up in the past because cartoons, there is a lot of fans of that magazine as well. We got part of it. Walter got part of it, but I want make and model on that, Walter. So if you've got, there we go. Terry got it. The Rio Wolverine. and I did specifically say make and model on that one. So Terry got that one first. So we'll get Terry down for that. Thanks for watching, everybody, or thanks for playing, everybody. I do appreciate you jumping on and having a good time with us. Let's see, George McGuest, the Olds touring. That was not correct anyway, but Terry beat you on that. So a couple more comments to catch here real quick. Magazines. I haven't bought any in quite a while. Classic Ride Society. I've got tons of them. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of them. So I don't actively pursue them. If I see something cool, I'll grab it. But I don't actively pursue them anymore like I used to. Let's see. That's something else Sean brought up. Another cool piece is the old training films, which when they were actually old film strips back in the day, where they had film strips and a record album. And those are super cool pieces of memorabilia as well. You got several Buick ones, which are neat pieces. So a couple more things to catch tonight, and we'll try to get everybody caught off or get caught up here and stay caught up on comments. California's on with us. Thanks for being here, California. The raffle, we've talked about doing a raffle, and we've had great response to it. So I think we'll start that next week. I was going to try to get it started this week, but I need to make some account. If you haven't been on before when we were talking about the raffle, what I want to do on a raffle is pick a better piece of memorabilia, typically $100, $150 piece. And it's going to be $1 a chance. If you send me $5, you get your name in the big oil can 5 times. If you send me 10, you get 10 chances. We'll do it for 2 or 3 weeks per piece meal, probably basically one a month. And we'll have a drawing after that. We'll use PayPal to buy your chances. And like I said, I wanted to try to start this week, but I want to get a couple things changed on my PayPal account before I do it, because I'm going to switch emails that are on my PayPal account. I don't want there to be any snags once we get started. So we've brought it up a couple times, had great response to it. And Yeah, that's right, Walter. It did have the 6 on it to represent the engine with the Wolverine. And Walter loves the show too. And great, I appreciate you being on with us, Walter. And glad you. But So we'll try to start that next week on the raffle. And like I said, had great response to it so far. And we'll try it once or twice and see if it generates enough interest to continue it. Nothing that I'm doing to try to get rich on, but if it can at least cover the cost of what we give away, then I'll keep my eyes open and keep picking up some cool pieces in that window. And if it takes off better than that, maybe we'll do even bigger, more valuable pieces. We'll see. Just depends on what we get for participation. We'll try it a few times, see what happens. We don't know until we try. Everybody so far has been in favor of it, so we'll give it a whirl and we'll try to start that next week on the raffle, like we have talked about in the last couple of weeks. So we've got a couple things picked out, and I think when we do it, like I said, I'll put my PayPal address on the posts when we start the show, and just when you go into PayPal, however many chances you want. Obviously, I'll need at least your name or a phone number to be able to get a hold of you if you're the winner and you're not on that night with us. So, new videos this week, like we've talked about a little bit. Station wagons. I've got 3 station wagons from 61 to 64 full size GM we've got on a video, and plus some other stuff that's sitting around those cars. One from the new yard, which is going to have that one big Chrysler in it, and a big 70s Cadillac and an old Studebaker truck on that one. That's going to be a pretty cool video. Did another G-body video, worked in a few more G-bodies that we'll have. How old are the blue books behind me? Well, there's multiple blue books. These are GM parts books, 66 to 75 Chevy, Pontiac through 75, 82 to 91 F-body. These are late 60s, early 70s Mitchell manual crash books that have real nice blown up diagrams of parts with part numbers. Primarily, this entire bookcase is going to be parts books in some way, shape, or form. So that's why I keep them there, so they're handy to look things up as I'm sitting here working on parts. Brad, any 40 Ford pickup trucks, depending on which one you want. And which brings up another good point of the phone call, Brad. 40 Ford pickup trucks, there's 2 different ones, and it depends on which one you want, and they are completely different trucks. And a lot of people don't realize that, but there are 2 completely different 40 Ford pickups, and the only thing that's the same is the cab. So, there again, just depends on exactly what you're looking for on that. Did a video on some G-bodies. Plus, I'm going to try to get my Cameo running. I may do some video on that to see if I can get this Cameo to fire up. Finally getting some paperwork processed, I hope, and going to be getting the title back on this Cameo soon. So I'm going to get back to work on the Cameo. I will hopefully do some video of trying to get it to fire up. I think that truck's going to run. We've started doing some basic stuff on it. We hooked the battery to it, couldn't get the starter turned over, so my dad went through the starter and had to do some other repairs that I'll show you once we get doing some videos on that pickup. And see if we can get that thing to fire up. It's a cool old pickup. Can't wait to do some videos on that for you. But those old Cameos, you don't see them every day, and this is a cool old pickup. So we're going to see if we can get that thing to fire up. So may try to get some footage shot of trying to get that Cameo to start, and we'll throw that up as well. Willie's Whippet caps, probably more than likely. That one box that I grabbed the caps out of the other night, there's at least 50 of those little caps in there. So I do think I've got some Whippet caps. I'm almost pretty sure I've got some Whippet caps. Let's see. Hollanders. Yep. Classic Ride Society. Hollanders are actually right down on this row, right here on the other end of that row is all Hollanders. So we do have Hollanders, definitely. The Cameo is a 57. So it's a great pickup. Let's see. Does the Plymouth Skating Ring wagon have a 5x4 bolt pattern, Terry? That I do not know. And that's another cool car that we haven't talked about in a while. But while we're on station wagons, that's something pretty cool to think about. If you missed the video on the 65 Plymouth Fury station wagon from the local skating rink that was painted up in the late 70s with all kinds of cool disco groovy graphics on it to promote the skating rink, be sure to check out that video. It's on YouTube as well with the 65 Plymouth Fury station wagon, but I'm not sure what bolt pattern that car had on it, Terry. So yeah, stay tuned, 79 Tasman. We're going to start doing some video on that. I've had that truck here since last spring. but I've had a hang up on the paperwork. I think it's finally been processed. It seemed like it went through. I don't have the title in my hand, but I have not. I have intentionally kept that truck hidden until I had paperwork on it. Stuff coming out of that Cameo sooner rather than later, hopefully. And hopefully in the next week or two, we can get it fired up and see if it's going to run and get some video on that as well. Okay, so you're talking half ton, Brad, on the Ford pickup. The front looks like a 39 Deluxe or a 40 Standard. That is a half ton pickup, and that is a specific look to that truck. And no, I do not have any 40 half tons in stock right now. Try to get some Cameo stuff if we can get that thing to fire up this week as well. So anyway, that kind of gets through the notes that I had for tonight. If you guys have any other, new inventory. I did not have any new inventory this week. We had a bunch of weather. It snowed Monday morning about 2 inches. It started to melt off and then got about another 4 inches on top of that Tuesday. Yeah, late Tuesday. I didn't haul anything this week. So don't really have any new inventory to talk about this week, but hopefully next week we will. It got up into the 40s here the last couple of days. The snow's pretty much gone, but we did get some rain yesterday, so everything's still pretty wet. Hopefully looking at 50s this week, at least until the end of the week. So keeping my fingers crossed that things dry out and I can get some more work done and get some new inventory picked up for next week. Let's see. Classic Truck Rescue. I've not checked him out. Does a bunch of old truck stuff. 57 Oldsmobiles. No 57 Oldsmobiles at all right now. As far as a complete 55 to 57 pickup, Eric, this Cameo is the only thing I've got that's a complete pickup in that era right now. And like I said, we'll have some cool stuff coming out on that here, hopefully sooner rather than later. Because I need to get that thing running and get it out of my shit and working around it. I think I got it last spring. I've probably had it for 8 or 9 months and had some issues with the paperwork, but it's all should be done now. It's processed. Everything went through on the state. I'm just waiting to get the title back in my hands. So looking for a 40 Chevy pickup. I do not have any 1940 Chevy pickups in stock that are complete either, Larry. Rear fenders for a 36 Chevy pickup. Nothing there, Chris, at all. So good point, Sean. Classic Car Talk is our national culture language that will reunite the nation. Great statement, Sean. And that's what we do on here is that's why we're all on here hanging out together. We just like talking about old cars. And I'm fortunate that I'm the lucky guy that gets to sit here in front of the computer and do it because it's your guys' participation and your guys' comments and your guys' involvement is what makes this fun. Me sitting here talking into a computer would be pretty boring, not very exciting at all. But it's your guys' interaction is what makes this work and what makes it fun. And I thank all of you for coming by every week. I mean, you come by every week. And so, yeah, my buddy Brent says if it dries up, he can do some work. My buddy Brent's got a backhoe, helps me out tremendously with getting a bunch of dirt work done out at the yard. We've got so many low spots. He's opened up so much ground for me by leveling out a bunch of dirt that I've had hauled in over the years. So always helps to get me more ground to work on where these cars don't sink. Even some of these things, I try to set everything up on tires and wheels. I don't like anything sitting on the ground. So, but I don't like low spots. I like good, nice level ground. So when I set them up on tires and wheels, they're sitting there level. They're easy to get under with a loader if I need to move them. And so that's definitely the way I like to keep things set up. Just takes a ton of time to do it and get organized, but that's what I'm working on. So anyway, that's what I've got for tonight. We'll start wrapping up. I'll keep an eye on comments to see if there's anything else as we get ready to wrap up. And as always, thank you guys for coming by. It still amazes me that you guys are here, which brings me back to the first statement that I made at the beginning of this episode, and I never seen anybody throw anything up about it. And next week, I know it's the Super Bowl, and I'm sure a lot of you guys want to watch the game. So I'll go ahead and get something ready. We'll go ahead and plan on doing it. And I understand if you guys are busy and want to watch the game. By all means, I fully understand that, but we'll go ahead and jump on. And if we're a little shorter next week, we're a little shorter. No big deal. But next week actually is crazy for me, it's insane to actually comprehend this. Next week will be 1 year that we've been doing this. February 9th of last year was the first time that I jumped on live, that I sat down here at my desk on Sunday night at 7 o'clock and jumped on, and you guys got on. 79 Tasman says he gave up on football. So well, maybe he'll be with us. And George says it's hard to miss the show because he likes being on with us. So that's great. It means a lot. Ironhead Garage says thanks for coming on. Hey, it isn't me. It's you guys. It's all you guys that get on with us is what makes this happen. Thanks, Rico. I appreciate the congratulations. Jason says he's going to be here too. But yeah, we didn't get actually next weekend will be the 51st episode. Tonight was the 50th episode. So it'll be 1 year on date. It'll be 51 episodes. We missed 2 episodes due to one was weather. We had a complete power outage one Sunday night and was out for about 2 days. So we did not get on that night. And there was one other one. Oh, we had some software issues where the cameras wouldn't pick up. So we missed 2 episodes, I think, out of the last year. So that's kind of what, so we didn't get a full 52 episodes in, but tonight was number 50. Next week will be number 51. Thanks for the congratulations, everybody. But it's not me. I mean, I really appreciate the kind words, and I really appreciate the support, and I appreciate the congratulations, but it's not me. It is not me at all. Like I said, if it wasn't for your guys' participation, jumping on here, taking time out of your evening to hang out, and not only talk to me, but everybody. I mean, we're helping everybody. Like I said, there's a lot of times that these guys can help each other. John, I'm just sitting here as kind of the mediator. So Terry says he doesn't think he's missed a show. And that's great. And that's what, like I said, it amazes me that you guys do this week after week. It's fun to do, but it's not me. And I do appreciate the congratulations, and I do appreciate the support, but it's not me. It's everybody else. It's the group that we have on here because, just like Sean said, that's what it's because we're, and this is a great way to bring us together, just like the comment that we just had. Have you ever thought about having guests come in, James? Absolutely. It's tough to do on Sunday night. Rico and Jess were here with us one night in October. They came out for the auto auction that my partner Chris and I put together, and had a super successful, awesome auction this year. Sold a ton of great iron. Rico and Jess came out for the auction, and they actually hung out, stayed over on Sunday, and they hung out with us live on Sunday night chat that night. Would absolutely love to have any guests if we've got anybody in the area. It's just tough to do on Sunday night, and so we got to kind of weigh that. But yeah, it's a great time when we can have somebody in here live with us. Yeah, that's what Terry just said. We did have Rico and Jess here. 63 Fairlane bucket seats, nothing there on that. So don't have any buckets for that, George. I've got a 65 Fairlane Sports 2 buckets, console, floor shift in it. Those are different seats. It just depends on how 100% correct you're wanting to be with that car. So, but yeah, live guests are great. We had a lot of fun with Rico and Jess here that night. And it took Jess out of trivia because she couldn't play. We wouldn't let her play because she was actually holding the answer in her hands. So she didn't get to play that night, which actually gave everybody else a fair shot. So we had a lot of fun when Rico and Jess were here. Great friends of mine. And believe it or not, did not know them until I started doing videos. They found me at Mecum in Kansas City a couple years ago and introduced themselves, and great people, great friends. And that's what's fun about this. Is just like we talked about earlier, going to swap meets, going to car shows, and actually getting to meet some of you guys in person. And that's what makes it fun, because that's what we're all about. We're here for the same reason. Thanks for the kind words, Scott. Glad you were on with us. But like I said, that's what it's about. It's guys and your participation and you taking time out of your night to hang out and stop by. So anyway, that's what I've got. It looks like we're caught up on comments. If I missed anybody, I apologize. And like I said, I sometimes the system just doesn't feed me everything as well. We've run into that where I jump off and refresh and there's 20 more comments all of a sudden. But hopefully we got most of them tonight. As always, if you have specific questions about vehicles or parts, just give me a call. And so we can have that short conversation about your project, your make, model, body style, direction you're going with your build, see if I've got anything here that might work. Or if you're looking for a specific project, what you may or may not be looking for. And there again, what direction you want to go with it. Are you looking for a patina vehicle? Are you looking for a full custom build? Are you looking for a correct restoration? Things like that. George says, thanks for the shows. He tries not to miss us either. Like I said, and it's great. I mean, I can't believe the outpouring of support from you guys, but it's just so having fun doing it. And the fact that you guys here jump on, and that's what makes it awesome. If SEMA is a go for 2021, will you be there? I would love to go to SEMA. I have never been to SEMA. So if it does go, I would like to go. There was a project that I was working on with a couple of other entities on a big giveaway last year, and SEMA was one of the tentative dates that we were going to promote this big giveaway that we were working on. And so I would like to try to get that ball rolling again on that promotion. And it's a super cool deal if we can get it going. So I would love to go to SEMA this year if that happens, which hopefully it will. And it would be a lot of fun. And there again, I would love to meet more of you. So if that is a possibility, I would definitely try to be there. And like I said, we'll talk about all the. So 65 F100s bailing off. That's great. I'm glad you made it. We're getting ready to bail off too. We are caught up on comments. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Had a great time, as always, with you guys. Can't wait for next week to mark 1 year, start our new raffle program, give away some more cool stuff. Have a great time with all of you guys. So stay tuned. More new videos coming up. We'll see you live on Facebook on Toy Tuesday, and get some new videos pumped out this week. As always, thanks for coming by. Sure hope to see you back next Sunday night at 7 o'clock. If you're watching the Super Bowl, I fully understand. But anyway, hope to see you back. Stay tuned. Have a safe week. And let's go out and have some fun with our old cars. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you soon on some more cool videos.